In case you're just joining us, welcome to SportsCenter. Yes, the trading deadline has passed, but the dealing is not done. The Mets smell their first pennant race in a long time and have traded for center fielder Brian McRae and relievers Mel Rojas and Turk Wendell, giving up Lance Johnson and two players to be named later that are reported in both cities to be shortstop Manny Alexander and starting pitcher Mark Clark. All of the players had to clear waivers before the deal was made, and they did.
The remainder of the Cubs hosted the Padres this afternoon at Wrigley Field. And isn't that music groovy? Bottom half of the sixth, still 1-0. Sammy Sosa facing Pete Smith. And with that, his 25th home run of the year ties the game at 1-1. Top of the seventh, still tied at 1. Runners at the corners, and Tony Gwynn, hitting in hard luck of late, lines into a double play. Bottom half of the eighth, still tied at 1. Mark Grace at second base, and Kevin Ory with a single into center field. That would score Grace, and that would give the Cubs a 2-1 lead. 3-1, Cubbies leading in the ninth. The runner on second base, Mark Peixoto, who was called up because of the trade, gets the save with a couple of shutout innings of relief. Kevin Ory went 3 for 4 on the day with an RBI single. Tony Gwynn struggling of late, 1 for his last 11, 1 for 4 on the day, now hitting .383, and the Padres have lost 8 of their last 10. Bob?
From the summer game to winter, Pierre Page no longer the coach in waiting of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. ESPN has learned that Page will be named the new coach of the Ducks at a press conference tomorrow. Page stepped aside as the coach of the Calgary Flames in June.
And that's why they call it dope. One day after Ukrainian shot putter Alexander Bogish was stripped of his gold medal after testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs, and 2 other athletes were disqualified at the Track and Field World Championships in Athens, local media reports allege that at least 4 more athletes have tested positive for drugs, but an IAAF spokesman is denying the story for the moment. Winners today in Athens: Otto Bolden of Trinidad and Tobago, and he won the 200 meters, beating Frankie Fredericks going away. Bolden bounces back after finishing a disappointing 5th in the 100. Zana Pitashevich wins the women's 200. 37-year-old Marlene Otti of Jamaica takes home the bronze, and Yolvis Casada of Cuba won the triple jump with a leap of 58 feet, 6 3/4 inches. Up next on SportsCenter, whatever happened to the Blue Jays offense? Last in the majors in hits, runs, and batting average. That's all. Power shortage in Toronto, but not so in Cincinnati. Pete Sampras and Evgeny Kafelnikov in action this afternoon, with the U.S. Open a little less than 2 weeks away.
Hurry to Sears Mega Tire Sale featuring our newest Michelin 80,000-mile tire as low as $34.99. Sears Auto Center. Sale ends August 16th.
I bought this car for me. But if anyone takes notice, that's okay too. Aurora, defy convention.
You know, be a really good anchor would be that MacGyver guy, you know. He'd be a good anchor. That guy that was on TJ Hooker, was Dance Fever guy. He was pretty good.
Hey man, ESPN serving up a summer of love, love, love. The Great American Insurance ATP Championships. Semi-final action tomorrow at 3:30 on ESPN and 7:30 on ESPN2. Advantage you, man.
The points race in championship auto racing is getting tight as Paul Tracy, Greg Moore, Alex Zanardi, and Michael Andretti head to Mid-Ohio. It's Miller 200 time, Sunday on ABC Sports.
Evgeny Kafelnikov and Pete Sampras in the quarterfinals at the Super 9 tournament in Cincinnati this afternoon. That is Kafelnikov serving at 2-4. First set. Down the line winner, Sampras takes the lead 5-2. Serving for the first set. Sampras wins the first set 6-2. Second set, Sampras serving at 5-2. Game, set, and match, 6-2, 6-2. Then there was number 6, Sergei Briguera, looking to take on countryman Alberto Costa, ranked 14th in the world. Briguera wins the first set 6-4. Second set, Costa serving at 2 games apiece. Down the line winner. Costa would win the second set 6-3. Third set, Briguera struggling with a bad ankle. And he would call it a day early. With the bad ankle, he would have to retire. So Sampras will meet Costa in the semis. Sampras 2-0 lifetime against him. Sampras has only been broken once in 3 matches in Cincinnati. Chang will play Curtin tonight. Muster wins again. Muster this year on hard court. Remember, he had such a difficult time on hard court this year. He's now 25-4. And the women are in L.A., which, of course, would make them L.A. women. Martina Hingis will play Anka Huber tonight. Hingis has won 18 straight. She's lost only once all year. Lindsay Davenport has defeated Natalie Toziot 6-3 in the third. So which is more of a serious offense, jaywalking or receiving appearance fees to show up at a tennis tournament, which is forbidden by ATP rules? Answer, jaywalking. After it was revealed by the Hartford Courant the other day that Boris Becker had received $125,000 under-the-table, wink-wink dollars to play in New Haven last summer, the ATP said it will not take any action against Becker or anybody else. In fact, according to the paper, no player or tournament has ever been fined for giving or taking an appearance fee. Bob?
A different kind of appearance fee, a different kind of Olympic gold. The parachute variety has the Salt Lake City Council all lathered up. The Salt Lake Olympic Committee has worked out a $2 million payoff to organizer Tom Welch, who quit last week, then pleaded no contest to wife battering charges. City Council members say not only is the parachute excessive, it belies the Olympic Committee's contention that it doesn't have enough money for many city services during the games. The mayor's office says the golden parachute is not yet a done deal.
Raylene Boyle, who won the silver medal in the women's 100 meters in Munich in 1972 and carried the Australian flag into Olympic Stadium in Montreal in 1976, must now sell her cherished mementos. The 46-year-old Boyle needs the money as she fights breast cancer in her native Sydney, Australia. Up next on SportsCenter, we will update Javi Lopez's aching elbow because of that. Braves host the Marlins tonight in the opening game of a 4-game set in Atlanta. Whatever happened to the Blue Jays' hitting attack? Problem is, it's not attacking anybody these days. It's in focus next.
We're the McKenzie brothers, eh?
How's it going?
Our topic today is the beauty shot.
Yeah, look how beautiful it is. Look at that head. It's making me kind of thirsty right now.
Hey, you can't drink beer on TV, eh? It's illegal.
Okay, fine. Cut.
He drank the beer, is that a problem?
No way, it evaporated. And I'm still thirsty. Cut.
Go! We're gonna get sued, eh? What'd you go and drink the beauty shot for?
To me, there's nothing more beautiful than an empty glass, eh?
Yeah, and I get to be the designated driver. Cut!
Good thing we have nowhere to go, eh? Cut.
I mean, I just think the baseball is way too slow.
Hey, if you worked at Wrigley Field, would you be in a hurry to leave?
German-engineered Volkswagen Jetta. Plenty of room, even for those longer trips. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
Inside your car's fuel system, there's a constant battle between good and evil. So if you have a dirty fuel system, none of these dark forces can match the power of STP Complete Fuel System Cleaner. STP's most technologically advanced fuel system cleaner ever. Dirt has met its match. STP Complete Fuel System Cleaner.
And I'll tell you another thing. Too many teams wear pinstripes.
You may have a point.
Sunday Night Baseball is fun for the whole family, and this Sunday the family's watching the Ken Jr. circuit, the White Sox, the Mariners, 8 Eastern, this channel. Injured people story here. Braves catcher Javi Lopez has to exit early last night after getting nailed by a Todd Stottlemyre pitch. X-rays turned out negative, which is positive. But Lopez is in a day-to-day play mode. The Expos won't have third baseman Shane Andrews the rest of the way. His rehab work at Class A West Palm has been stopped. His left shoulder in need of a longer rest. He played just 18 games this year for Montreal. And Toronto outfitter Orlando Merced is waiting for his doctor to come back from vacation. Then he'll go under the knife next week for a bum shoulder. He's been on the DL since early June and will miss the rest of the season. You know all about the Cy Young kind of season Roger Clemens is having. 17 wins, a 1.69 ERA. He leads the majors in both categories. But there are other categories, and the Blue Jays numbers with a bat in hand make it appear Clemens has been throwing for both sides. Our In Focus report now on what's gone missing this season in Toronto, a hitting complement to the Clemens success. The Toronto Blue Jays of the early 90s were a model franchise, the closest thing baseball had to a dynasty, winning 3 straight division titles and back-to-back World Series crowns. But this year's Jays resemble their expansion brethren of the late 70s, when Toronto stumbled out of the gate with 6 consecutive losing seasons. A team that had high expectations is now on pace for its 4th straight losing campaign.
Well, it's been frustrating because we've had a lot of ups and downs. A couple times this year we got on good streaks and got back in the race, and all of a sudden things kind of fell apart for us.
In Toronto, team offense has become an oxymoron. The Jays could finish with the lowest American League team batting average of the 1990s. Since the inception of the DH in 1973, only 5 teams have hit lower for a full season than this year's Jays. The 3 National Leaguers Toronto acquired in the offseason have all fallen short of last year's numbers. Carlos Garcia, a .285 hitter last season, stands at .217 so far. Orlando Merced is batting 21 points lower than last year's .287 final mark. And Benito Santiago's average has dipped almost 50 points, and that's in addition to his power outage. By way of comparison, the Jays are hitting 10 points lower than the Phillies, who don't benefit from the DH.
We just haven't hit the ball all year. We haven't scored any runs, and people that we brought over from the National League that we thought they was going to contribute and turn this into a little bit better hitting ball club, it didn't happen that way.
Toronto also ranks last in the American League in runs, hits, and home runs. Among the regulars, Sean Green leads the team with a .287 average. Mainstays like Ed Sprague and Joe Carter are hitting well below .250.
Everybody seems to have been in a slump off and on just about all year. And, you know, some guys come right out of spring training, have been in slumps in spring training.
But there are some bright spots. Thanks to Roger Clemens and Pat Henkin, Toronto leads the AL with 12 shutouts and 15 complete games. Rookie closer Kelvin Escobar has 7 saves and 7 chances. And the acquisition of Jose Cruz Jr. solidifies a solid nucleus of young talent.
I was happy I ended up in this city. This is a great city, great organization, and a bunch of great young players. So, I mean, it should be exciting, you know, especially probably next year.
Like myself, Carlos, and Sean Green, we're also just as young as he is. So we're going to have some bright spots in the future, and hopefully we can stick together on this team and make some kind of nucleus.
Back in 1993, the Jays and the Phils met for the World Series. Here we are in 1997, and these numbers total up what's gone on since those two are on top of the world. Both are well below 500 in the time since, but to leave you on an up note, Toronto's won 3 straight recently, and the Phils have won 8 of 10. The NBA transaction wire reveals where Eddie Johnson will spot up for his threes this season. Actually, he spots up everywhere, but we will name the team, and we'll name names at Watkins Glen. The Cup drivers go the road course route this week. Stay around.
Whether for business or pleasure, A1 can get you or your group there in comfort, style, and safety. Choose from over 200 luxury sedans, stretch limos, 10 passenger vans, shuttle buses, or motor coaches. For airports, executive travel, corporate seminars, weddings, shopping. For all your needs, call A1 Limousine.
People going places, there's people going places, want to go A1.
Know what Comcast customers can get besides great cable TV? Sprint long distance, and a deal that'll blow you away. Up to 30 minutes of free long-distance calling every month for a year when you order Sprint from Comcast. Not to mention Sprint Sense with Diamond Minute rates. So call Comcast and start talking up a storm. Comcast. Everything you connect with.
800-936-6100 now.
The kart race at Laguna Seca. Want to go? Just get a state-of-the-art race car. Round up a top crew. and qualify. Or easier, enter the ESPN Grand Prix Sweepstakes presented by Firestone and Pennzoil. To enter, visit your local participating Firestone retailer or call the Pennzoil hotline at 800-344-5400 and you could win a trip for two to Laguna Seca or great prizes from Firestone and Pennzoil. Enter the ESPN Grand Prix Sweepstakes and you could be a winner.
The PGA is just a week away. Second round of the Buick Open at Warwick Hills. Payne Stewart moving into contention with a solid second round. This birdie putt from 25 feet. Bingo. After an opening 72, Stewart shot 65 today. He is 7 under par. But Ernie Els was the story today. This par 3 tee shot up into the clouds, descends to the turf, and rolls within 7 feet. Els had 9 threes on his card. You remember, he already won a Buick at the Buick Classic at Westchester. This chip from behind a sand trap, rolling up within inches of the flag. Els also pitched in twice in this round to shoot a 9 under par 63. He is your leader by 4 shots over Dan Forsman, whose last victory was at this tournament in 1992. A 6-way tie for third, including John Morse, the former captain of the Michigan golf team. Tiger Woods, a 4 under 68, but is 9 shots back. Justin Leonard, 11 back after an even par 72. First round leader Sonny Skinner, who shot that 62 yesterday, 14 shots worse today. He is 7 shots off the lead.
Changes apparently in the wind at the University of Cincinnati. According to the Cincinnati Enquirer, Gerald Odell is going to be leaving his post as the school's AD, athletic director, in a matter of days. By the looks of it, Odell has lost a power struggle with the popular basketball coach Bob Huggins. And Eddie Johnson, the 38-year-old veteran shooting guard, is going to be back with the Houston Rockets next season after reaching an agreement with the NBA, or for the NBA minimum, $327 grand. Johnson, who nailed some clutch shots down the stretch last season, will return for his 16th year in the league.
Danger, danger. Winston Cup drivers making right turns this week. That might sound like I'm picking on them, but while just about any of these guys can win on the ovals that dominate the circuit, you can count the road course warriors on, well, one hand, maybe less than that. Mark Martin won at Sears Point and 3 of the last 4 at Watkins Glen. Rusty Wallace has a half a dozen road course wins. But big names, Gordon, Jarrett, and Earnhardt, zip on the road courses. Bill Weber's right turn signal works. He's at Watkins Glen.
This fabulous hometown weather has provided Brett Bodine with a breath of fresh air. On Wednesday, he sold 50% of his team to businessman and racer Andy Evans, providing a cash infusion for this financially suffocating race team.
You know, with Andy Evans and the people that he brings to the table, we're better than a race team with a future. We're the race team that's got a lot of resources now to draw from to make us more competitive week to week.
Were things pretty bleak for a while, Brett?
They were extremely bleak. Actually, Indianapolis was our last race. We wouldn't even have been here at the Glen if Andy hadn't come to the table.
On August 18th, the Monday after the Michigan event, Roush Racing will take over operations of Mark Rippon Motorsports. Chad Little is expected to remain as the driver. The complete buyout takes place over time. An official announcement is expected next week. The frustration meter is pegged for 2 Winston Cup road racing veterans. Since back-to-back second-place finishes at California and Daytona and a 7th at New Hampshire, Terry Labonte has been stung twice, 35th at Pocono, 40th at the Brickyard. Rusty Wallace now has 8 finishes of 31st or worse after a 37th at Pocono and 38th at Indy.
I've got to have frustration. I mean, I feel sorry for the fans and everybody supporting us with all the problems we had. It's quite embarrassing, but we'll turn it around.
We had an engine problem, which is very unusual for us. It's the first time we've had an engine problem in a long time, and it's something that you don't ever worry about. And it's unfortunately it just happened, and you know, that's one of those things that get you from time to time.
Despite his crash in practice, his road course experience has 2-time Watkins Glen winner Ricky Rudd looking for back-to-back victories. Rudd comes in still smiling after his triumph at Indianapolis, a prestigious win that has meant collecting a lot of rewards and spending a lot of time.
It's pretty much you get up at the crack of dawn. Yesterday's day consisted of waking up at 5. At 5:30, we're at a television station, and it started at 5:30, ended about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. It's kind of been like that every day, just doing lots of media stuff. It's just hard to believe that race is so important that everybody wants to hear about your reaction and so on.
Ricky Rudd was the 4th straight Ford driver to go to victory lane. Ford has won 12 of the first 19 races this season, and of the 6 previous winners entered in this race, 5 will drive Fords in the Bud at the Glen. At Watkins Glen, Bill Weber, ESPN.
Thanks, Bill. Todd Bodine, who drives primarily Busch Grand National races, is on the pole. Jeff Bodine, who grew up just down the road from Watkins Glen as well, defends his title Sunday afternoon at 1. Points leader Jeff Gordon learning the right turns. He had his best road course finish, second at Sears Point earlier in the season. Still to come, the Oilers should have more trouble transitioning to traipsing around Tennessee than learning about their new quarterback, Pierre McNair. They know.
Our plan all along was to take our time with him. So he came in as a backup. What I was fearful of at that point was that he would accept that role and
Monsoon. Now there's premium sound in the unique interior of the Hummer. Monsoon. Power, attitude, audio for the road.
It's the Move 'em Out giant clearance sale now at your Yamaha Watercraft dealer. We're moving out our remaining 97 watercraft with cash incentives worth up to $1,500. We're making room for the 98s by slashing prices on the hottest watercraft in our lineup. The 3-person Wave Venture 1100 and 760 and the 2-person GP 1200 and 760. Up to $1,500 off. Take your pick. Up to $1,500 off now, but only at your nearest participating Yamaha dealer. Yamaha Watercraft for the hottest deals available. This offer must end September 30th. When it's gone forever. Nothing else is a Wave Runner.
I worked Foghatch Rock and Roll Outlaws tour, so I know about groupies. I took a psychology course at the community college, so I understand what these WNBA groupies are going through. So I empathize. Discovering love through fundamentally superior basketball, but on the other hand, I find them to be, losers. I mean, for most guys, it's legs. For them, it's usually a nice fall-away jumper.
Utah, Houston, Tuesday at 7:30 on ESPN.
Golf is my second favorite game. It's a great way to relax. Spend time on the beach. Enjoy the water.
That's it right there. I got a shot.
And even make new friends.
Whoa!
But before you play this hole, please choose a designated driver. There are no mulligans for the drive home.
A message from your friends at Budweiser.
Prime Monday is a TV show. It's the place to get all the news that matters to start your NFL week. This coming Monday, join Mike Tirico and Ron Jaworski for a review of the weekend's games and advance info on the Monday night affair. And, of course, that is on ABC. Philly and Pittsburgh go after each other like it counts at 8 Eastern. ABC Monday night preseason football. And word of a possible unretirement in the works. D lineman Richard Dent is reportedly close to a deal to join the Tennessee Oilers. He retired after leading the Colts in sacks last season, but quoted by the Tennessean as saying there's some appeal to finish up where he started. He's a graduate of Tennessee State. Veteran quarterback Dave Craig is a proponent of the catch and release fishing method. Reel the trout in for the sport of it and then let him go. Craig's landed on a new team this season, one that already had a keeper. Steve McNair will start for the Oilers, but all the while learn from the guy who's traveled the NFL waters. For continuity, reporter Jeremy Schaap likes salmon.
The apprenticeship of Steve McNair is over. After spending 2 seasons grounded in Houston, Air McNair will lift off from Memphis.
They wanted to groom me, and I'm very thankful for that, because a lot of guys in the NFL today, as young quarterbacks, gets in as a rookie and lose their confidence if things don't go well right off.
Our plan all along was to take our time with him. So he came in as a backup. What I was fearful of at that point was that he would accept that role and not continue to grow. He didn't do that. He did not accept that role.
The only role McNair wanted was the lead. After all, at Alcorn State, he had set the all-time NCAA record for total offense with almost 17,000 yards. But in 2 seasons as Chris Chandler's understudy, he started only 4 games.
That was really frustrating, seeing everything out there develop right in front of me, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Now, instead of looking over Chris Chandler's shoulder, McNair is looking over the shoulders of his linemen. And in Dave Craig, he has a backup who was signed, at least in part, to help tutor him.
That was part of our deal. That was when we expressed interest in Dave, and we sat down, talked during free agency, basically laid it out in front of him and said, this is what we expect of this position. Are you interested?
Do you think you're going to be called upon specifically to almost like a quarterback's coach?
Well, maybe in the future. Right now, I'm just going to let him play his way through. I mean, he's got a lot of steps to take, and the best way to learn things is just go out there and do them yourself.
Dave knows just what it takes to win, what it takes to get to this level and be successful. And when you have that and behind you as a young quarterback, you need that inspiration of when things going bad. You can have the guy that's been in the league for a long time to boost you up and have that confidence level rise.
Dave definitely knows his role, and he's very satisfied, I believe, with that. He's a competitive guy, and he'd love to be playing, but I think he recognizes that the future for the Oilers is Steve McNair, and he is the quarterback.
Craig is 38. Only Dan Marino, Fran Tarkenton, Johnny Unitas, and Joe Montana have thrown more touchdown passes than Craig's 261. McNair is 24 and has thrown 9 touchdown passes. But there are similarities. McNair went to tiny Alcorn State. Craig went to even tinier and now defunct Milton College.
He comes from a small town in Mississippi. I come from a small town in Wisconsin, and you know, we talk about that. We both enjoy fishing and things like that. In a small town, you know, we know where our roots are.
When Dave came, we hit it off right at the bat, and we began coming closer and closer, and we are close. And I think this relationship can last a long time.
Craig, for one, is confident that McNair will succeed.
He's got an ease, a grace about him, you know, just real smooth. He doesn't look like he's going real fast, but you know, he can tear up chunks of yardage while he's running, as opposed to me, where I have to look like I'm really working. He's got some things that I don't have.
And now Air McNair, finally in command, has a co-pilot to smooth his flight. In Nashville, Jeremy Schaap, ESPN.
Now, Craig's the designated teacher backup, but his recent history when signed as a backup shows he still knows what to do when handling the first series of a game. In wins to losses and TDs to picks, Craig's numbers were favorable. We ended up starting rather than subbing in Detroit and Chicago.
NFL Training Camp Report is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste.
Please stay for a top story review led by the Mets-Cubs deal. Mel Rojas and Lance Johnson are switching towns.
I come to America with only 1 pence and map of Kentucky. Today I have own beer tray and put it in Coors Light only. Coors Light, refreshing like Rocky Hills, cold. In old country, I had nothing. Here in America, a man get own beer tray and proudly yell, Coors Light. Now people want me. I am more than just a man. I am beer man.
Nothing makes a summer party come alive like McDonald's Chicken McNuggets. They're wild, they're cool, and right now they're on sale. Get 6 for 99 cents, 9 for $1.59, and 20 for $2.99. Nobody parties like McNuggets, so get down and go wild with McNuggets this summer. Only at my McDonald's.
I am the cable boy. I'm in charge of the coach. 3rd down and 10. Ron Cooper. By Steve. Sassy, a little tough on the equipment. Also have a backup headset, fully operational. Terry Bowden. Just keep the cable out of his way. You develop a special bond with the coach. I'm the lifeline between the sidelines and the booth. Without me, the coach could trip. He could die. Get it right, people.
College football on ESPN 2.
SportsCenter is brought to you by the owners, managers, and crew who proudly call the McDonald's in your neighborhood My McDonald's.
A lot of you are skeptical. A lot of you won't believe the sun rises unless you see it yourself. Well, next Thursday night at 10, you can watch ER or you can watch The Real Thing. Tyson, Holyfield, 2, 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on ABC.
Couple of games underway in the American League. Juan Gonzalez hit his 25th home run of the season to give the Rangers a 2-0 lead in the top half of the first. The Indians have bounced back with a deuce of their own on a RBI single by Manny Ramirez, and Jim Thome an RBI double. They're still hitting in the home half of the first. The Red Sox scored 3 in the bottom half of the first. Now it is 4-0. Reggie Jefferson with a base hit, extending his hitting streak to 22 games.
Again, our top story today, the Mets have added right-handed relievers Mel Rojas and Turk Wendell to strengthen their bullpen for the pennant race, as well as center fielder Brian McRae, who is in the lineup leading off for the Mets. They get them all from the Cubs. For center fielder Lance Johnson and 2 players to be named later, reported by the team's broadcast outlets in both cities to be starter Mark Clark and shortstop Manny Alexander.
Indians just scored another run, 3-2 in the bottom of the first. That's a wrap for us. Have a good weekend. Kenny Mayne, I'm Charlie Steiner.
I'm Bob Stevens. Olympia Bodybuilding is next.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.